Over the past couple of months, a steady stream of news and leaks has emerged surrounding the in-development Star Trek Picard series. Audiences have learned how the series ties in with the events of the 2009 Star Trek reboot directed by J.J. Abrams, that the first season will be like a 10-hour movie, and that a total of 3 seasons may be planned. The first season is due to premiere later this year, and by all outwardly appearances, there appears to be a flurry of activity on the production. Behind the scenes, however, there is chaos. Persistent rumors abound of production delays, disagreements between production partners and distributors, and licensees reportedly refusing to put merchandise support behind the planned character, uniform, and ship designs. In this video, we will explore what is going on with the Picard series by going through the official known information before exploring the rumors of production trouble. Then we will delve into how these rumors tie into Star Trek Discovery, and if there may be a solution in sight. Since it was first announced, the upcoming Picard series has been met with excitement and anticipation from fans. Although, both Patrick Stewart himself and the producers behind the scenes have made it abundantly clear that the series will feature a very different Picard than the one we remember from Star Trek The Next Generation, and that the series itself will not be a continuation of The Next Generation.
And it's quite different from Next Generation.
Knowing you, I think in the roles that you take, you wouldn't go back to him as he was, so he would have to be different for you to go back to him.
You hit the nail on the head.
Instead, the series will feature a new set of characters, i.e. misfits, that go on a quest, and the series will deal with the aftermath of the destruction of the Romulan Star Empire, as seen in Spock Prime's flashback to the Prime timeline in 2009's Star Trek produced by Paramount and Bad Robot. Alex Kurtzman, who wrote and produced both 2009's Star Trek and its 2013 sequel, Star Trek Into Darkness for Bad Robot, and whose production company, Secret Hideout, has written and produced Star Trek Discovery, will serve as showrunner. The first 2 episodes will be directed by Hanelle Culpepper, who, among other things, has previously directed a number of episodes for Star Trek Discovery. The casting of supporting characters is well underway, and everything appears to be on track for a late 2019 premiere. So, what is the problem? Production on the Picard series is scheduled to begin in April. If the series is indeed going to premiere in late 2019, the current production start date cannot be pushed back by much. Rumors emanating from inside the production, however, indicates that making the production start date will be costly, as the construction of sets and the production of both uniforms and models are all behind schedule. The reason apparently is that the designs, which were initially approved, have since been second-guessed and were sent back to the drawing board. The reason for this is that the once approved designs were given to various licensees behind third-party merchandise like toys, models, and other apparel. Their feedback was clear. They made it known to CBS in no uncertain terms. They could not sell it to the traditional demographic of Star Trek fans that buy Star Trek merchandise, and that some aspects of the story would not go down well. They made it further clear that if CBS wanted to go it alone and continue to sell their new brand of Star Trek to a new demographic which does not appear to exist, that was their prerogative. But the major licensees would not get involved until they were provided with something they believed the traditional Star Trek fanbase were interested in buying. Netflix reportedly also made it clear to CBS that the original planned direction of the series was not one they were happy with. So, what did the Picard series look like that caused such a reaction? Apparently, the designs looked like a further evolved and more futuristic version of the designs in Star Trek Discovery, and nothing like anything that might have evolved from the designs associated with Star Trek The Next Generation, whether from the TV series or the spin-off feature films. If you have followed the production troubles facing Star Trek the last couple of years, you will recall that a very similar problem arose when Star Trek Discovery itself was in pre-production. Back in March of 2017, weeks prior to even a frame of footage being released to the public, Midnight's Edge exclusively made public that rumors making the rounds within the industry that the licensees were declining the offers to make Star Trek Discovery merchandise based on the designs they were going for. Star Trek Discovery would go on to be released without toys or models in stores, and while some models would become available towards the very tail end of Season 1, as of the making of this video towards the end of Season 2, for all intents and purposes there are still no Star Trek Discovery toys in stores. For a franchise like Star Trek, the lack of support in toys and merchandise is a big deal. So how could a situation where toy manufacturers aren't supporting Star Trek arise in the first place? Before we move on, let's dive into that for a moment. The core issue facing both the rebooted Bad Robot Star Trek movies, Star Trek Discovery, and the upcoming Picard series, and all of their merchandising struggles, is that they are all made under the terms of an alternate Star Trek copyright issued to Paramount and not the original Star Trek license which is owned by CBS. Midnight's Edge has previously revealed the detailed history leading up to the division of the Star Trek rights and practical consequences of this division, but to bring new viewers up to speed, we will do a quick recap. Following the Viacom corporate split back in 2005, traditional Star Trek custodian Paramount were deprived of not just their ability to make any new Star Trek productions on either TV or film, but also of the reliable and sizable revenue stream brought in by Star Trek merchandise that third-party licensees had provided them in the past. CBS had been awarded the Star Trek rights in the Viacom split, but they had never been involved with the production of any Star Trek series in the past. Outside of sitting back and passively collecting the tens of millions of dollars in yearly revenue that Star Trek merchandise from third-party licensees brought in for them, they had no plans for Star Trek on the big or small screen. Paramount, on the other hand, were at this time very much interested in not just reviving the Star Trek franchise, but to get the revenue from third-party merchandise flowing again. This point cannot be overstated. The reason why every studio is chasing franchises isn't just for reliable box office, but for the additional revenue from third-party merchandise, which not only has the potential to revive the box office receipts, but to provide the brand income with a revenue stream when there is no new movie in theaters or no new series on TV. Few franchises owe so much of their total earnings to licensed third-party merchandise as Star Trek. Case in point, while CBS were willing to license Star Trek film rights to Paramount in return for a hefty fee, CBS were not willing to do anything that would undercut their own revenue stream from third-party merchandise. The solution then was to issue Paramount with an alternate Star Trek copyright, which for all intents and purposes meant allowing Paramount to create another legally separate Star Trek that tonally and visually had to be sufficiently different from the original Star Trek, so that both could be separately and independently licensed to third-party licensees. This way, CBS could continue to profit from the merchandise based on the character likenesses, uniforms, and ship designs associated with all the original Star Trek released from 1996 to 2005, while Paramount would profit from all the merchandise based on the likenesses of the alternate characters, uniforms, and ship designs associated with the alternate Star Trek released from 2009 and onwards. For complex legal issues, not just the Bad Robot produced feature films, but also the CBS All Access series Star Trek Discovery and the upcoming Picard series are made under this alternate Star Trek license, not the original Star Trek. For practical purposes, this means that the original designs and footage, such as the Tribble in Star Trek Into Darkness, the picture of the original crew in Star Trek Beyond, and the footage from the cage in Star Trek Discovery can all be separately licensed and put on screen. But these separately licensed items associated with the original Star Trek copyright cannot be further monetized for third-party licensing. In order to be able to monetize the designs used in this alternate Star Trek, they have to differ from the original designs by a certain factor. This factor is believed to be 25%. Where the uniforms are concerned, the uniforms seen in Star Trek Beyond represent the bare minimum of redesign required to be able to further license the alternate designs to third-party merchandise manufacturers. In Star Trek Discovery, they made a creative decision to go far beyond the legally required minimum redesigns. It would appear they have done so in the upcoming Picard series as well. The existence of two separate Star Treks does have legal implications for what is and what is not canon, although the producers tried to obfuscate this fact as much as possible. The term prime timeline was coined exclusively to this end in conjunction with the 2009 movie, and audiences were conditioned to believe it referred to the original canon of Star Trek made between 1966 and 2005. In reality, the term is a product of the alternate Star Trek license, which is the only place where it has been used, and it only refers to the alternate Star Trek's interpretation of the original Star Trek canon. To further the impression that the prime timeline and the canon of Star Trek are one and the same, then, as we already have mentioned, the makers of Star Trek Discovery can separately license any design from the original canon, even original footage, as was done in the case of the cage. But from a legal point of view, the original and current alternate Star Trek are two legally different entities made under legally different copyrights. While the makers of Star Trek Discovery and the Picard series may proclaim the original Star Trek canon to be in the same continuity as their series, from the point of view of the original canon of Star Trek, Discovery and the Picard series are but pastiche, just like Bad Robot's feature films, even if they feature some of the cast in alternate prime versions of characters they previously played in Star Trek canon. Even with that limitation, great new Star Trek can be made under the terms of the alternate copyright, as long as there is a will to do so from the producers. With Star Trek Discovery, the producers in charge forged ahead with their designs which went far beyond the legally required minimum redesign. The price they paid in terms of unrealized licensing revenue, as well as the eventual lack of goodwill and willingness to pay for more subsequent spin-offs from international distributors like Netflix first and foremost, reportedly hit them hard. Ever since CBS had to increase their own expenditure from Season 2 onwards, Star Trek Discovery is no longer a profitable series for them. The Picard series will reportedly be even more expensive to make, in no small part due to Patrick Stewart's considerable payment, and CBS expects it to be profitable. As such, we have heard that redesigns which will hopefully win over the licensees have been ordered, against the wishes of the showrunners. There is also, however, the production start time to consider. From what we understand, they are not willing to push this back, not if it can be avoided. As such, it remains to be seen how much redesigning can be done before production will have to be delayed. What this all comes down to is the numbers. If the bean counters conclude that the cost of delaying production can be offset by implementing redesigns and other changes, which may win the licensees back over in the long run, then the Picard series may be pushed back still. Either way for CBS, the Picard series is too big to fail. We will keep you up to date on the situation as we learn more. Till then, check out our breakdown of the Star Trek rights and different timelines, and subsequent discussion on the revelations with Robert Meyer Burnett. Be sure to let us know your opinion on all this in the comments. If you like this video, then please help share it and share your opinion in the comments. Midnight's Edge aims to give the most comprehensive analysis and commentary on genre culture and entertainment. If you would like to see more of our videos, then please subscribe, hit the bell icon, and remember to indicate that you would like to be notified when new videos are uploaded. If you really like what we do, then please support us on Patreon until a better alternative comes along, or send us a direct donation through PayPal. Also check out our sister channel Midnight's Edge After Dark for live shows and other rants. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and stay tuned for more here at Midnight's Edge.